Also breaking overnight, one person was rescued. A firefighter was also hurt during a large house fire in the city. This was the scene around 3 o'clock this morning at a home on Portland Avenue near Shelmont Drive. Look at those flames just coming out of that roof of that two-story structure. Pretty incredible images, along with a large first responder presence there at that scene. Now, we have reached out to the Rochester Fire Department for more information. We will update you just as soon as that becomes available. All right, Stephanie, thank you for that. Also breaking this midday, a 5-year-old child is fighting for their life following an early morning house fire in the city. This was the scene right around 3 o'clock this morning, flames shooting from the roof of an apartment home there on Portland Avenue. 14 fire companies and more than 50 firefighters responded. 2 firefighters were hurt during rescue efforts. No word yet, though, on the extent of their injuries. That child is being treated for life-threatening injuries at Strong Memorial. The RPD's Major Crimes Unit is working with the Arson Task Force to help determine the cause of that fire. Breaking news ahead, a massive fire tears through a Rochester church. We are live at the scene.
From your breaking news and weather authority, this is 13 WHAM News at 11.
Breaking news this Saturday, an historic Rochester church in ashes this Christmas. A massive fire destroying the building that's been there for more than 150 years.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad situation. We were here today. We just had worship today.
A very sad end to the holiday for parishioners of the Jefferson Avenue SDA Church. Good evening, I'm Dan Schrack. One of the main concerns tonight is collapse. We're going to take you back out live to the scene. Several fire companies remain on the job at this hour, still working to make sure there are no hot spots remaining. Now, we're told this fire started right around 6 o'clock tonight. When the first crews arrived, they were able to do a quick sweep of the building, making sure no one was inside. However, those flames spread fast, forcing those firefighters outside to fight from the exterior. It took hours for them to get it under control, and we're told at least one crew will remain on the scene overnight, making sure no embers reignite.
It's really unimaginable what's happening right now. We are all hurting, but we serve a God who knows all things, and nothing takes God by surprise. He knew about this day, knew that this would have happened, and we just have to trust him to get us through this most difficult period.
One of the main concerns is the collapse zone. So basically, as you see, there's a lot of damage. We have concerns that some of the walls and the steeple may collapse. So when the fire started to progress, we actually kind of stepped back a little bit and they would call the collapse zone due to the safety of the firefighters.
Pretty incredible images. Back again live, and crews still on the scene of that fire at the Jefferson Avenue SDA Church. Such a sad end. The good news here, to the best of our knowledge, no one was hurt. We will continue to follow this story for you on air and online at 13wham.com.
From your breaking news and weather authority, this is 13 WHAM News at 11.
We begin tonight with breaking news. A massive fire erupting inside a building in downtown Rochester. Officials urging the community to stay clear. Good evening, I'm Karen Edwards. Matt is off. At least one firefighter injured in the 4-alarm blaze, billowing smoke from Rochester's Canal Street. We go straight to 13 WHAM's Stephen Pappas, who's live at that scene. Stephen, what have you seen tonight?
Yeah, Karen, this scene looks a little bit better than it did at 10 o'clock tonight. If you look over my right shoulder right now, that's the building that was on fire. At 10 o'clock, the smoke was so bad, it was very hard to even see that building from where we are right now. I'm going to step out of the way. Ben's going to zoom in just so you can see the kind of damage that we have been seeing. You see that top of that building just completely destroyed. The building's still standing, but charred from that fire. Now, nearly 60 firefighters on scene tonight. Canal Street shut down here in Rochester. Rochester Fire does say a firefighter was injured, and crews have been battling these flames since 7:15 this evening. Now, they arrived, flames shooting out of that second and first floor. Parts of the structure also collapsing, the roof, a wall coming down. Now, the adjacent building was evacuated as a precaution as fire crews struggled with those flames.
When I got here, I seen first the back of the building started falling, then the middle, and then when they started hitting the front started falling, flames started coming out of it, and then they got it completely under control, then it started pushing backwards again.
The size of the structure is a challenge in itself. With the amount of fire, it's hard to get to the seat of the fire. Again, structural collapse is a big challenge for us. We had to stay 75 feet away from the building, and obviously the roof did collapse.
Now, the Rochester Fire Department does say that building was vacant. The condition of that firefighter that was injured is still unknown at this time. Reporting live in downtown Rochester, Stephen Papp. All right, Daniel, thank you very much. A tragic scene in Canandaigua, a house fire leaving one person dead and 2 people hospitalized. Canandaigua Fire responding around 8:40 to Jefferson Avenue. You can see there is serious damage to that home. The fire extending from the first floor to the second floor. Crews tried to get to someone who was trapped. Unfortunately, that person was pronounced dead at the scene. The other who were hospitalized were treated for smoke inhalation and are expected to survive. The home has been deemed unlivable. The cause is still under investigation tonight.
From your breaking news and weather authority on Fox Rochester, this is 13 Wham News at 10.
Tonight, Route 31 in Palmyra is back open after a serious crash this afternoon. Route 31 and Old Route 31 had been shut down for hours as troopers investigated. Good evening, I'm Stephen Pappas. This was the scene around 4 o'clock this afternoon. State police say a driver in a 1965 Mustang struck a Honda. As you can see in this video, it was into a ditch. The driver of the Mustang and a passenger of the Honda were airlifted to the hospital for their injuries. The investigation is ongoing. No charges have been filed. Daniel, thank you very much. A person was sent to the hospital earlier today following a crash in Perrington. Emergency crews responded to the crash on Turk Hill, closing off the road temporarily while they investigated. Deputies say an occupant of one of those vehicles was transported to the hospital with minor injuries. We'll take a look at this. A multi-vehicle crash today at Dr. Samuel McCree Way and Jefferson Avenue. That accident happened earlier today, and there is no word yet on the injuries. When new information becomes available, you can find it on air and online at 13wham.com. We have an update on the large emergency presence late last night in Rochester on 490 West. It happened around midnight. Now, this is the video that you're seeing on your screen. Police say one car rear-ended another. 2 people had minor injuries, and an 84-year-old woman was treated for serious but non-life-threatening injuries. A third car crashed while reacting to that first incident. All occupants of that crash had minor injuries.
5:35 this morning, state police say an 84-year-old woman injured in a 4-car crash on 490 last month has died from her injuries. Deputies say the woman was inside a car that was rear-ended near the Mount Reed exit off 490. A third car crashed while reacting to the first incident. State police say a woman she suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries, while everyone else suffered minor injuries. The name of the victim has not been released.
From your breaking news and weather authority, this is 13 Wham News at 11.
We begin with breaking news in the town of Hopewell. This is footage of the scene tonight on routes 5 and 20, which are shut down from 247 to Mumby Road. They were at some point. We are looking to learn more, and we'll bring you those updates as soon as we have them on air and on 13wham.com. A tragic development tonight in a Friday shooting on Nassau Street in Rochester. Police say the victim, 17-year-old Jaden Scott, died this morning from his injuries. Officers say he was found in critical condition around 3:30 Friday afternoon. No arrests have been made. 2 other weekend homicides are under investigation tonight. Rochester police say a man was shot multiple times inside a suspected drug house on Sherman Street Sunday morning. He later died at the hospital. And 2 people now facing charges in a fatal Friday night stabbing. Police say 38-year-old Christopher Austin was killed during an argument near North Street. 45-year-old Herbert Montgomery, a twice-convicted felon, is charged in Austin's murder. Another person also charged, accused of tampering with evidence. Now on Fox Rochester, breaking news on a fatal homicide at an Irondequoit Popeyes. The latest on the investigation.
From your breaking news and weather authority on Fox Rochester, this is 13 Wham News at 10.
We begin tonight with breaking news, a homicide investigation after a fatal shooting at a Popeyes restaurant in Irondequoit.
The call came in for a possible argument inside the Popeyes restaurant behind us.
Good evening, I'm Karen Edwards. Police say a man in his 20s was shot and killed. 13 Wham, Stephanie Joseph is live at that scene right now with the latest from police tonight. Steph.
Yeah, Karen, this is an active homicide investigation. Police say that the shooting happened at this Popeyes behind me just after 7.
All cars responding to Irondequoit Popeyes.
Officers say there was an argument between 3 or 4 men inside before shots were fired.
Two lines, all 3 to 4 masked men walk into the bathroom plate entrance and then heard the shots, and the cars were away.
One man was shot multiple times in the upper body.
I got a one black male gunshot wound. It's going to be the upper left torso. Not conscious, not breathing.
He was taken to RGH where he later died from his injuries. Police say this was not random. Right now they are talking to people who were inside as they continue investigating.
What we're doing right now is separating everybody and trying to get stories and collecting video, talking to witnesses, doing all the stuff that we have to do.
Now, police say the suspect or suspects who are responsible in this shooting fled from the Popeyes. They are looking for whomever had fired those shots. Live here on East Ridge Road, I'm Stephanie Joseph, 13 Wham News at 10 on Fox Rochester.
From your breaking news and weather authority on Fox Rochester, this is 13 Wham News at 10.
The man shot and killed at a Popeyes in Irondequoit last night has been identified. Good evening, I'm Stephanie Joseph. Irondequoit police say 30-year-old Jose Centino Torres died after being shot several times at the restaurant on East Ridge Road. The shooting happening last night just after 7. Torres was taken to the hospital where he died from his injuries. Police say an argument happened inside the Popeyes before the shooting. They are still looking for those involved in the homicide. Anyone with information is asked to call 911.
Breaking tonight, the arrest made in a fire that killed a 5-year-old Rochester boy.
From your breaking news and weather authority on Fox Rochester, this is 13 Wham News at 10.
We do begin tonight with that breaking news. 2 sisters arrested in the case of a 5-year-old boy killed after an act of arson.
And I hope that this sends a message to those that think that they can wreak havoc in our city, that we will hunt you down and make sure that you will be held accountable.
Rochester police making that announcement just in the last hour tonight. Good evening, I'm Matt Malloy.
And I'm Karen Edwards. It's been just more than 1 week since 5-year-old Malachi Stovall was tucked into his bed when police say his Portland Avenue home was intentionally set on fire. Now, 2 sisters are behind bars, charged with second-degree murder and first-degree arson.
13 Wham Stephen Pappas is live from the Public Safety Building where police held that late-night news conference just moments ago. He's got the latest breaking developments for us tonight. Stephen, good evening.
Matt and Karen, good evening. Several city leaders filling the public safety building auditorium to make that announcement tonight. Rochester police do say the two sisters, 21-year-old Takayla Hendricks and 31-year-old Taquita Hendricks, are now behind bars, charged with second-degree murder and first-degree arson. One was arrested around 3 this afternoon, the other around 6 o'clock. They're set to be arraigned in Rochester City Court tomorrow morning. Now, you will recall that last Monday when crews responded to a home on Portland Avenue around 2 o'clock in the morning, investigators say that the two women used a flammable substance to ignite the front porch of that home, which almost immediately began engulfed in flames. 5-year-old Malachi Stovall was trapped on the second floor of that home and rescued by firefighters. He was brought to Strong Hospital with burns to more than 75% of his body, but died from his injuries just days later.
This was absolutely senseless for a little 5-year-old kid to lose his life because cowards and people with reckless regard for human life decided to set a porch on fire with no regard to the damage that they would cause to an entire family and to just an entire community.
Now, last week, Malachi's mom told us a 19-year-old cousin was babysitting when the horrific incident happened. 2 firefighters also sustained injuries in this case. Police say additional charges against the suspects, to include charges related to those injured firefighters, may be presented at a grand jury at a later date. And Malachi's mom, Brianna Akers, releasing a statement to us today saying that she is thankful for everybody who brought what police say to be the 2 suspects accused in her son's death to justice. She just says that it was Malachi's world and she was living in it. Reporting live in downtown Rochester, Stephen Pappas, 13 WHAM News.
Breaking now, arson suspected in a devastating fire that left a young boy fighting for his life. His family also pleading for justice.
From your breaking news and weather authority, this is 13 WHAM News at 5.
We begin with breaking news. Arson is now suspected in a terrifying fire that left a 5-year-old boy fighting for his life. Today, his mother pleading for justice.
My baby is suffering from city violence that had nothing to do with us.
We have team coverage as that 5-year-old fights to live in the wake of that horrific fire. Good afternoon. I'm Karen Edwards.
And I'm Stephen Pappas, in for Matt. Authorities now say someone set that fire on purpose. Malachi Stovall was rescued by firefighters who also suffered burns and other injuries at the scene on Portland Avenue.
And now authorities are pleading for help and offering a reward in cash. We begin now with 13 WHAM's Natalie Calzatoni, who met with Malachi's family today. Natalie, good evening.
Good evening, Karen and Stephen. Malachi's family is dealing with the unthinkable and are asking the community for help in finding the people responsible for this horrifying incident.
I'm asking the whole city of Rochester to pray and get answers for my only child, Malachi Stovall.
Brianna Akers says her 5-year-old son is fighting for his life after being severely injured in a house fire early Monday.
He's a very lively little boy. He is full of energy. He's definitely fighting as much as he can, and he's gonna make it through.
Crews responded to a duplex on Portland Avenue and found the home engulfed in flames. Malachi Stovall was trapped on the second floor and was rescued by firefighters and brought to Strong Hospital, where he is in life-threatening condition and on a ventilator. Investigators say the fire was intentionally set at the entry to the home.
So many people have failed my baby. This was not an accident. This was an intentional fire set, not an accident. And my baby is suffering from city violence that had nothing to do with us.
Malachi's stepfather, Donovan Forbes, tells me he and Akers were away helping a friend move and had his 19-year-old cousin babysit when the horrific incident occurred.
We were on our way back when we got the call from one of the neighbors that the house was in flames.
Now, Akers and Forbes are asking the community for help to bring justice to Malachi's suffering.
We just asking for help. We lost everything in the fire, but if we lose him too, it's gonna be...
Everything, the whole house. My baby was up there for 21 minutes with no heartbeat. I don't want to do this anymore.
And there's a GoFundMe set up for Malachi's care, and we'll have more info on our website, 13wham.com. Stephen?
Natalie, thank you very much. And tonight, authorities say they will stop at nothing to find out who did this.
Stephanie Joseph continues our team coverage with breaking details on the investigation and the reward now being offered. Steph.
Yeah, Karen and Stephen, police say the fire was intentionally set at the entrance of the duplex on Portland Avenue near Shelmont Drive. They believe multiple people could be involved. Police say investigators quickly found evidence at the scene that the fire had been intentionally set, and while they could not elaborate on what was used, they said the flame spread quickly after the fire was set at the entrance. That, officers say, made rescue efforts more challenging. 2 firefighters were hurt while rescuing Malachi from his second-story bedroom. One was injured in a fall and the other suffered burns. They are now recovering at home. Now, authorities are just hoping people come forward with information.
For somebody to do something like this, to set a house on fire so people can't get out, is just, it's abhorrent. There's people right now in the community who know exactly what happened, why it happened, and who did it. We'd like those people to close their eyes for a minute and just imagine that the 5-year-old right now in the hospital on a ventilator with burns over 75% of their body is fighting for their life. Imagine if that was their son, their daughter, their niece, or their nephew.
RFD also found that one of the hydrants on scene was not working properly, but they say it did not hinder or delay their operations. Again, the ATF is offering a $5,000 reward for any information that could lead to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for setting this fire. The number to call is Crime Stoppers at 423-9300.
From your breaking news and weather authority, this is 13 Wham News at 6.
We begin with breaking news and a search for suspects as arson is now suspected in a devastating fire that's left an innocent child in critical condition tonight.
He's fighting for his life that someone intended to take from him, and I need help, any little help. Call 911, footage, anything.
Authorities say they are searching for several suspects believed to have set that fire on Portland Avenue on purpose. Good evening. I'm Karen Edwards. Matt is off. 5-year-old Malachi Stovall remains in the hospital as his family watches over him. 13 Wham's Natalie Calzatoni sat down with Malachi's mother today after the family lost nearly everything in that horrific fire. Natalie.
Good evening, Karen. Malachi's family is dealing with the unthinkable and are asking the community for help in finding the people responsible for this horrifying incident.
I'm asking the whole city of Rochester to pray and get answers for my only child, Malachi Stovall.
Brianna Akers says her 5-year-old son is fighting for his life after being severely injured in a house fire early Monday.
He's a very lively little boy. He is full of energy. He's definitely fighting as much as he can, and he's gonna make it through.
Crews responded to a duplex on Portland Avenue and found the home engulfed in flames. Malachi Stovall was trapped on the second floor and was rescued by firefighters and brought to Strong Hospital, where he is in life-threatening condition and on a ventilator. Investigators say the fire was intentionally set at the entry to the home.
So many people have failed my baby. This was not an accident. This was an intentional fire set, not an accident. And my baby is suffering from city violence that had nothing to do with us.
Malachi's stepfather, Donovan Forbes, tells me he and Akers were away helping a friend move and had his 19-year-old cousin babysit when the horrific incident occurred.
We were on our way back when we got the call from one of the neighbors that the house was in flames.
Now, Akers and Forbes are asking the community for help to bring justice to Malachi's suffering.
We just asking for help. We lost everything in the fire, but if we lose him too, it's gonna be...
Everything, the whole house. Everything. My baby was up there for 21 minutes with no heartbeat. I don't want to do this anymore.
And there's a GoFundMe set up for Malachi's care, and we'll have more information on our website, 13wham.com. Karen?
Natalie, thank you. Rochester police are now looking for multiple people responsible for intentionally setting that fire yesterday. Arson investigators say the fire was set at the entrance to the duplex, making it even more difficult for firefighters to reach 5-year-old Malachi. We're told the little boy was unconscious in his bed and had to be rescued through a second-story window. 2 firefighters were also hurt during that rescue.
There's people right now in the community who know exactly what happened, why it happened, and who did it. We'd like those people to close their eyes for a minute and just imagine that the 5-year-old right now in the hospital on a ventilator with burns over 75% of their body is fighting for their life. Imagine if that was their son, their daughter, their niece, or their nephew.
Police are asking neighbors to check their Ring cameras, and the ATF is offering a $5,000 reward for anyone who provides information that leads to an arrest and conviction. You can call Crime Stoppers at 423-9300.
Tonight, a community helping the victims of a devastating fire in Macedon. Those flames left 38 people without a home a little more than a week before Christmas. But tonight, Tyler Brown reports the generosity of neighbors is brightening spirits. Tyler?
Dan, firefighters and complete strangers from across the community came to a hotel where many of the displaced families have lived for the past week. They came to bring joy and kindness during a very dark time and even brought the big jolly man in a red suit. There was no sign of reindeer or a big red sleigh. Instead, Santa Claus came to Palmyra in style. The Jolly Red Man arrived with firefighters to a hotel where several Macedon families have been staying after losing their homes in a massive fire. He brought with him gifts for kids who lost everything in the blaze.
What would you like for Christmas, sweetie?
A 3-bedroom apartment.
A 3-bedroom apartment? Give me a hug, sweetie.
Shaylin Roblero is a mom of 3 who lost her home that day.
I had multiple phone calls telling me that the building was on fire. My husband was outside with my baby and my dog and not knowing what to do. So it's like very, very heart hurt. You know what I mean? My heart is on fire. Like that's all I can really put it to.
Oh my God! No!
The flames left 38 people without a home. No one was hurt. 6 apartments were destroyed and the rest of the building was deemed unlivable due to smoke damage and the shutoff of gas lines. Some families lost all of their belongings. Some even lost pets.
There you go, buddy.
The presents might not replace everything that was lost, but to these families, the hope given to them from their community and smiles they shared mean the world.
I always thought about, I want to get away from here. But now that this happened, I really see the support and like, they say it takes a village and that's for damn sure. Like, I swear, like if it wasn't for any help that we have, we would all be sitting here wondering what we were going to do.
And we have ways you can donate to all of the families involved on our website, 13wham.com. In the newsroom, I'm Tyler Brown.